I now call to order the July 5th, 2022 City Council meeting. We would all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll.
Councilmember Gillen,
Here.
Parker,
Present.
Dalby,
Here.
Schroeder,
Here.
Richardson,
Present.
Mayor Erickson.
Present. All right. We will move forward to the public comment. If you would come to the podium, state your name and address for the record and state your intentions.
Hello, everybody. I'm Erica Roberts, 14283 168th Avenue. I wanted to come today because I thought it was good for you guys to get some information about the results of a couple of the events put on by the Indianola Downtown Merchants. From your meetings I've attended, it became apparent that there may be some concerns regarding things like street closures, impact or even lack of impact for businesses on our downtown square. I appreciate those of you who took the time to discuss ridiculous days with business owners located around the square, and I know some of you brought feedback to the last meeting. So the Indianola Downtown Merchants are looking at three what we call major events this year. It began with Ridiculous Days in June of 2022, Wine Witches and Brews, October of 2022, and the holiday celebration that will take place in December of 2022. Looking ahead, we will be asking for more street closures to hold events in the future, and here is why. So if we were to look at our last two major events, that would be Wine Witches and Brews last October, and then Ridiculous Days, which we just held in June. Wine Witches and Brews, over $9,000 in ticket sales, and we had over 900 women that participated. Attendees from some of the states included Iowa, Nebraska, Missouri, Kansas, Illinois, Wisconsin, Ohio, South Carolina, and Maryland. Among our 900, there were 213 from Indianola, 86 from Des Moines, 29 from West Des Moines, 73 from Nebraska, 19 from Urbandale, 18 from Elkhorn, 14 in Ankeny, 14 in Albia, 13 out of Chicago, 11 out of Clive, 10 out of Cedar Rapids, 7 Minneapolis, 5 in Waukee, and those were just some of the areas that we highlighted, but it gives you an idea that we were bringing people in, and that was key. We had over $40,000 in small business revenue in a 4-hour time period. And that was actually from a very small group that reported. And we hope to have additional reports from that night as well. Most participating merchants saw 75 to 100% increase in both sales and foot traffic during that event. We had no medical emergencies or accidents reported from that night either. There was alcohol involved. So overall, that was good. So if we skip down to Ridiculous Days, I've got just a little bit more in-depth stats on that. It just being 2 weeks ago, we had over 40 local businesses that donated services and goods for free activities for family events. Over 32 downtown businesses participated. Over 15 outside, that would be non-brick and mortar. Vendors and artists came in and set $342 new followers to our Indianola Downtown page, and we reached over 24,000 people in the 4 weeks prior to Ridiculous Days. 652 people clicked on our links. And obviously participants that came were both local and non-local residents. We had 52 entries for the morning parade, and we gave 3 interviews from local papers at their request. The one thing I would want to say about Ridiculous Days in particular is this was a group that put on this event of less than 8 people with a $500 budget, and $250 of that budget went to the cleanup for afterwards. So we began with a whopping $250, dollars to begin this whole process. And I think when they say it's nice to have friends in handy places, we did. And we were shocked at how many actually reached out to us saying, what can we do? Where do you need help? So when I was talking about the local businesses that donated service and goods, that's really what made up for us being able to do some of the things we were able to do on a $250 budget. Imagine if groups like the Downtown Merchants, the Chamber, and even Hometown Pride actually came together to put on an event like this. I want to zero in on some key stats from Ridiculous Days. A survey went out and businesses had the opportunity to fill out a survey based on their experience, and these were business owners. 82% of businesses stated Ridiculous Days had a positive impact on their business. 47% operated normal business hours. 41% extended their hours for the event specifically. 52% sponsored an activity or game outside their business. 41% held sidewalk sales. When I asked what their increased sales were compared to the 3 previous Saturdays in June, so we could get as accurate as possible. 0 to 25% increase, we had 23%. 25 to a 50% sales increase was 11%. 50 to 75% increase was 11%. 75 to 100% increase was 6%. And over 100% sales increase was 32%. Minimal or no increase reported was 17. When asked if the construction impacted their ability to participate, 64% said no and 29% said somewhat. When asked if they would participate in a similar event, 82% said yes, 17% said maybe. And again, we will continue gathering more data. In my opinion, actually, those numbers are going to be going up, not down. I don't mind sharing with you that at Roots, we had 54 new customer purchases with 125 increase in both revenue and foot traffic. And a business close by stated to me it was their highest grossing day since COVID. I do encourage all of you to look at the Indianola Downtown page if you want to see comments, photos. You're going to see all of those in real time. I don't need to tell you what they said. You'll be able to see it for yourself. I also had quite a few, which was great, waking up, the next morning to an inbox full of people from the schools, different places, just saying, thanks for doing that, which I thought was huge. The sole complaint that we received regarding Ridiculous Days was that a small number of businesses that did not participate or closed up early. We received no complaints for street closure or for any parking issues. We also had no medical emergencies or accidents reported during the event. I think what this data does not support is that street closures, lack of square front parking, and children and family-based activities have any negative impact on business on our square. What it does show is the positive impact on businesses financially, as well as exposure to new businesses. I do believe that the businesses on Salem where the street was closed actually did better than in areas where the streets were left open. I also believe that businesses that participated both outside and inside saw more foot traffic and higher sales overall. I just wanted to remind everybody that we are coming off of 2 years of COVID, current inflation, and city construction that has certainly been challenging. Conducting business as usual, quite frankly, went out the window over 2 years ago. Events like these simply have been a saving grace for a lot of us. When they say we had to think outside the box, I think this is specifically what we were talking about. You know, how can we come up with ways to not only make a vibrant square, but have it benefit people on a retail basis as well. What I would like to see as far as a shift in focus and attention, that maybe it could go to the 82% of businesses wanting more of this, and not so much of the focus and attention given to the very small number that quite frankly don't participate in these events, but seem to be vocal about their concerns about it having a possible negative impact. At our commission with Charlie last month, we had a speaker that said something profound, and it actually stuck with me all through Ridiculous Days. If I can just share that with you. He said, you will have events on your square that target retail sales, and you will have events on your square that will create memories for people. They are equally important. My hope is that you will support us in both. And thank you guys for hearing me out. Thanks to those who came and participated. It meant a lot. And hopefully we'll get to do more of this in the future. So thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
It was, since we're on that subject, it was an amazing event.
It
You guys
really
did really good, spent a lot of money. But I agreed. I actually shared with Steve on that topic. A lot of traffic was on Salem. So it does kind of support if we have to close down more, but it was such a fun event. Good job. Kudos.
Like I think I mentioned, I talked with 12 businesses, just kind of a random sample. 11 of the 12 had increased. The one that didn't is an adult beverage facility anyway. And so they said it was just kind of a neutral day, but even on the north side of the square, the folks that I talked with there had a good day, very good day. So I kudos to you guys and the work you put in. For 8 people putting that on, you did a great job. So. Absolutely.
Is there any other public comments? We'll move on to the consent agenda. Are there any items that need to be pulled from the consent agenda?
I'm going to ask that item B be pulled. I have one question. I've already talked to Andy about it, but comment on it. So.
All right, can I get a first and second motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item B?
Make a motion to approve consent agenda.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions?
I have a comment. I don't know if you all received my email, the item E3, the request from Frank Chiropractic. He's going to move his band down to the street level.
Great.
Is there anything on there we need to just highlight before
We
we?
just got to me. I was just
Oh,
gonna
there
say,
you go.
Andy, any highlights that you have for us?
I don't think there is anything in particular that needs to be highlighted, just pay application for Langland for the trunk sewer. There's a couple of requests there for Historical Society for the Festival Parade, and then also Log Cabin Festival Parade, and then also for Hometown Pride Committee for the Celebrate Morgan County Parade on July 30th.
Parade's coming up.
Yeah.
And if you have extra candy, Vintage Hills is looking for your extra parade candy. I saw that today, so they give it away for bingo. All right, Jackie, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Parker,
Aye.
Dalby,
Aye.
Beach,
Aye.
Richardson,
Aye.
Hewlin.
Aye.
Elderly people say.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
guessing they
Dennis
probably
is
aren't
really
shoving a 20-pound Smarties down their throats. But, you know, honestly, they put a call out today. They're looking for extra parade candy. So if you're great, if your parents are there, you know, just know.
I would make a motion to approve the claims, but I'll have a question.
Perfect. The second,
Second.
thank you, Ron.
Andy, Cowbell Cyber, can you kind of just tell us what, I know that we had a contract with them that was part of the insurance thing, but could you kind of explain that a little bit?
Yeah, I'll actually have our risk manager, Courtney Sullivan, who's on Zoom, explain it.
Okay.
She's there.
Courtney, are you there?
Sure, she is there. Well,
Maybe.
Cowbell is our cyber insurance. That's where we're getting our insurance for any cyber attacks that might happen to the city. We are sharing the cost 50% with IMU. IMU does the utility billing. They have a certain amount of private information, personal information on their servers, for doing billing. And then we also have sensitive information that's on our servers. So anybody's, if you're connected to the internet with computers, you're subject to any kind of internet attack at all times. We are constantly under attack. Our software handles a lot of that, catches a lot of that, but there's always the possibility that something might come through. So the insurance takes care of any types of risk that might be involved with that. And as far as recovery for information that we need to recover, or any kind of information that we need to put out to the public if some of that information is compromised.
So my understanding is that there's been a number of insurance companies that have gotten out of cyber coverage. And that's why we went to this particular carrier. Is that my understanding?
Yeah.
Andy,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I was disconnected from Zoom. This is Courtney Silliman,
Good.
City HR and Risk Manager. I apologize.
No problem. So Andy just kind of gave us a quick background on the cyber insurance. And then I think Steve's question, I don't know if you heard it, was a number of companies have gotten out of covering this. And that's why we're going with Calbella. Did I say that right?
Yes, we used to be previously covered with ICAP, but they no longer insure us for the $1 million in cyber insurance that we currently need. That's why we made the switch to Cowbell for $14,097.11. That is split 50-50 between the city and IMU. All departments obviously carry the same amount of risk, as a cyber claim can happen anywhere to anyone clicking on a bad email link or having their password stolen. Again, this is not a normal insurance policy. It is specific to cyber. Essentially, we're buying insurance if a cyber breach were to occur, and Cowbell would be our claims handling risk insurer for that as the third party.
Courtney, just one other question then. Was this coverage, the price of this coverage pretty comparable to what we paid in the past?
In the past, it was under $5,000 and now it's over 14, but it is very competitive. And our agent did shop with several different third-party vendors on this coverage.
Well, and on top of that, there is a big focus on cybersecurity right now in all businesses and organizations. So they're under tremendous threat always. And
Sure.
so I'm sure that the demand has gone up.
Yeah. No, I was just curious what the increase was, so it's fine. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
I've got a question. So Courtney, it's Ron. Since we're splitting that premium with IMU, does that mean that the city's only covered for like half of that premium? So that 500,000, I think it's $1 million insurance policy, right?
Yes, it is a $1 million cyber insurance policy. We are splitting the premium, but we have the same amount of cyber coverage. So we're under the same blanketed policy.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Courtney? Thank you, Courtney. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Jackie, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Hewlin,
Aye.
Parker,
Aye.
Selby,
Aye.
Beach,
Aye.
Richardson.
Aye.
All right, we will move on to item 6A, discussion and direction on the Hometown Pride Committee term dates. Is Doug with us? Or
No.
is Jackie, you
Jackie's
got
gonna
it.
handle
it.
Even better.
Yep.
Don't tell
Like
Doug.
I said in the packet, Hometown Pride was set to end after a five-year agreement that started in 2017. So we had all of the terms end in 2022. We appointed 3 people last year for their term to end this year. We just wondered if it was okay if we extend their term 1 more year so that they serve the full 2 years. Now that Hometown Pride will continue on.
That makes sense. Yeah.
We appreciate them doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there any
Or I do.
financial obligation? Because, we were at the city was paying $4,000 a year, right? So that stops?
That's in the jail.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
Basically,
just to
that's
cover the leadership.
Set up for the coach, yeah.
I think they're doing a great job.
Mhm.
Okay, all right, is that enough just
Yeah.
directions? Perfect, all right. I need a first and second motion to appoint Tammy Lukens to the Hometown Pride Committee for a term beginning July 1st, 2022 and ending July 1st, 2024.
So moved as read.
Thank you.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, Jackie?
Councilmember Dalby,
Aye.
Beach. Aye. Richardson,
Aye.
Hewlin,
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
All right, welcome aboard, Tammy. Moving on to 6C, I need a first and second motion to reappoint Amy Duncan to the Hometown Pride Committee for a term beginning July 1st, 2022 and ending July 1st, 2024.
So moved as read.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All right, Jackie?
Councilmember Dalby,
Aye.
Beach. Aye. Richardson,
Aye.
Hewlin,
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Move on to 6D. Need a first and second motion to appoint Andrea Carlson to the Hometown Pride Committee for a term beginning July 1st, 2022 and ending July 1st, 2024.
And so moved as read.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. Discussion. Jackie?
Councilmember Dalby,
Aye.
Beach. Aye. Richardson,
Aye.
Hewlin,
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Right, moving along. Number 7, mayor's report. Talk really fast. So we were able to raise $205.41 in the dunk tank at Mayor's Bike Fest, and we donated that to Helping Hand, and that will go to the purchase of 4,000 pounds of food for our food pantry at the Helping Hand. We touched on Ridiculous Days, but just again, another congratulations, Erica, Sheena, Brandy, Leslie, that whole crew that put that together. It was absolutely amazing. We had the grand opening for the courthouse last week, and it was hot, very, very hot, but that was very exciting. A couple congratulations to Amy Duncan and Mark Gavitt. They have purchased the Indianola Record Herald and will continue to print that. So congratulations, Amy. We're excited to have that in Warren County ownership, and I think it'll be great for our community. Another congratulations to Walker Whalen. He went out to compete discus at nationals at the University of Oregon. He placed 8th and he was named the Gatorade Athlete of the Year. So that is absolutely amazing for him. And he will be participating at the University of Iowa this fall. So we'll have to cheer him on. That is all I have. Oh, I'm sorry. I do have one more thing. I don't know why I forgot. The council, we participated in an active shooter drill last week with our police department. Amy and Mark were there as well too. And, got to work out some real life situations with active shooters and to see what our reaction would be. Needless to say, I failed. I think John and Christina in my group passed. Steve took a rubber bullet to the head.
Good shot by the officer, by the way.
Yep, so just know that they're very good shots. Thankfully, your head does not look like my arm and back, but it was a great experience, and I think it gave us all a whole new appreciation. And so thank you to our Indianola Police Department for letting us be involved in that and seeing what you deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and I got a chance to speak a little bit with Sergeant Largest, who takes care of, he basically runs our training program for the police department, and he has a side business and has had for a number of years, but that's what he does. He goes around the country and trains it. And in talking with him, I think we are set pretty well here. I think we have some of the finest trained officers probably in the state, which is probably why Des Moines likes to come down and steal them, which right now that's what they're trying. So I thought about making a phone call up there, tell them just, hey, just ignore the ones that come out of.
I bought you a grill. You
Yeah.
can't go anywhere. Okay. That tied you in.
But no, we have a very good, very well-trained group of officers, and that's not something that every department around the state can say. So we are very fortunate in our community. So,
And they are very good shots.
yes, they are.
And I would piggyback on what John says. We also have some officers trained to remove certain items from electronic devices that are confiscated during commission of crimes, and we're one of the few departments in the state of Iowa that have the ability to do that. In fact, a lot of departments come to us and ask us to do that for them. I would also comment that we have now at least 3 officers, I think, trained and certified by the FAA for people searching drone capabilities, and our drone has infrared, allows us to search for folks that might be. I mean, I was talking with Captain Shear the other day, and he said there was a young man, I believe he was 9 years old, autistic, that got away from home, and they were getting ready to put a drone up to find him, and it was one of those hot days, and they found him just before they got the drone up and going. But we're one of the few police departments that have at least 3 people certified by the FAA to fly a drone. So, you know, you talk about opportunities, and I think Ben made a comment one time that still sticks with me, and it was, either give people the reasons to stay in the city or people reasons to leave. And I think we're giving people reasons to stay, and I think it's wonderful.
Absolutely. I agree. And Steve had a great point, and I think something that we'll talk with Ben when he's on his way moving back actually right now with his family. So we're super excited about that. But that we need to highlight some of these officers and their training, especially Sergeant Largest, because he is one of the best in the state, and he keeps everybody in line and up to date with what they need. So, and just watching him in the instances where, you know, with corrective behavior and actions that he did, he's just so great with them.
So the questions asked and responses that he got through that process was incredible to me. I mean, you know, he picked up on all the little things too. You know, did you do this? You know, why didn't you do, what you thought about this? Did you think about doing this? Just, I mean, he is a gem.
Yeah.
Just the smallest little details.
Right.
He was so astute, you know, and instantly, and things that.
Make sure he doesn't watch this section, and he's got a really large
Yeah,
head.
exactly. And one of the things too, I also noticed with our officers that if something didn't go like they wanted, you could tell it bothered them. And they were running through in their heads, and they were back thinking about it, sitting there and then running through it again. So they take it very, very serious.
And a couple of them in those question and answer periods said, you know, I should have done this.
Yeah.
Like you know, second thought, I should have done this, should have done that. And then, you know, say, oh, yeah. You know,
And having gone through that, I should have done a lot of things, and you just, and so now you sit back and reflect, and I'm like, wow, it amazes me what they have to deal with on a daily basis. It's and 2 of the scenarios we went through that Sergeant Large just posed through were situations that were loosely tied to things that they had to deal with here in town. So yeah, it's
And I shot each time.
that's
not
why
gonna
you're
jab
married.
on the force.
You're married, not on force. So.
And I don't think I hit either intended target, but failed. That's what I did. But it was, I think, great, and gave us all a whole new appreciation.
Well, I would thank the department for giving us that chance.
Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
most certainly, because that's a very expensive thing to do.
It is to do.
So,
Yes.
And they were gentlemen afterwards. They all stayed and they cleaned up every
Oh,
single
yeah.
room
Yep.
and made sure everything was put back together. So
Yep.
their
I'm not
mom
sure
raised
those
them
shades
right.
would be repairable.
There was a couple things I think we all shot that.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, you might have. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
we're-
that was probably me because I closed my eyes most times that I shot, so wasn't sure where they went, but it was great. So thank you. All right, we'll move on to 8A. I need a first and second motion on a resolution approving representation letter with Myers and Struffel. I said that wrong. LC regarding adjusted ground emergency medical transportation costs.
So moved as read.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. And discussion. Chief Chia. Hey, we're gonna have to find out what you're gonna do now to put us through pain, because those cops have a lot of fun shooting us.
You don't want to go out in this weather.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Wait,
be
so it's a little
outside.
milder.
And I guess to follow up real quick, like, we used the drone already last week
Yeah.
on the fire at
Oh, that's right.
at the high school.
Yeah.
So what they did was we used the thermal imaging option. So it went across the roof and told us what was the
You guys
temperatures.
got that
and
out
how-
fast, so good job on that. I saw actually guys working in there today, like getting stuff out. I don't think they were working on anything, but I think they were getting some stuff out they could. So I was thinking, that was great. You guys handled that really quickly.
Yeah,
fast.
they've done a really good job in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Their times are greatly improved.
So we were over at the middle school and that was happening, and
Yeah,
it was out like that. So good job. And the whole building's not destroyed. I looked at it today.
on a dangerous situation too, though, with fuel and stuff that was
Yeah.
inside the building.
I didn't realize they had switched all that over.
Yeah,
There's a lot of equipment in there.
yeah, mowers.
Oh, so this is basically a program that's, this will be the 3rd year. It'll be our 2nd year in this. So what this is for the department to capture more on the billing part for Medicaid, Medicare. Normally, we're anywhere from 15 to 20% of what we invoice. And because it's a federal program, we have to write the rest of it off. Well, here, the state, and Iowa's probably the 22nd state that's adopted this program. And every state's a little bit different on how they go about it, but we capture, and it's federal money that's sitting there. At this last year, and again, I hate to blame everything on COVID, but I'm going to blame this on COVID. Even though they had predictions, and we have predictions in here, and that's what you saw in that document. We captured, I think it was over 80,000 in addition to what we would normally capture, which was about 34 is what we would normally. I have the number. Yeah, 83,000. So every year you will see me or somebody that will represent the department, because we will come out with a new number. And those are cost reports that are put together by Andy and our consultant, who is PCG. And those cost reports go to the auditing firm, that's Stauffer. They are the contracted auditing firm for the state of Iowa. So they put all that document and all that information together and come out with that number that we would invoice. That's what this program's about.
That's great. Questions?
What kind of related to that? But while he's up there, rather than having to get up, you said you had some responses to fireworks related injuries over the weekend. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, let's vote on this first and then.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so Jackie, would you like to call the roll?
Councilmember Dolly,
Aye.
Beach,
Aye.
Richardson,
Aye,
Hewland,
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
And I apologize, I meant to bring that up in my mayor's.
that's all right.
report,
No, that's
so
fine.
I was thinking, I only wanted you to get up one time, that's it. No, I forgot
That's
to bring it
No,
up
that's
first time.
fine. I'm okay either way.
So I know we've had a lot of police calls, and Brian's actually on vacation, so I didn't want to bug him with getting that information, but I thought we could circle back on that the next meeting, but I know Steve was curious if we've had some injuries on and the fire.
Yeah,
calls.
we've had one serious injury on 7/2. We also had
Was that an
one,
eye or something? I think I
yeah,
heard?
it was hand
Oh,
also. Same person.
Oh.
We had a vehicle fire. We also had, actually, we've had a couple of panic attacks from individuals that have called out. Had a dumpster fire, we've had a trash fire, had a tree fire. We've had a lot of debris that was still smoldering and burning in the streets that are remnants of the fireworks. We also had a small trash fire in one of the parks. And we still have one night left.
that's just for a reminder to the community tuning in. 10 p.m. is the cutoff this evening, and be conscious of your neighbors and everything they're dealing with in their own personal lives.
Please pick up your trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, and please pick up your trash.
Sweep the streets when you're done.
I actually saw a family and they do a great one, and they bring out the next day their blower, and then they blow it all to their driveway, and then they put it all in a bucket of water
I'm gonna
before
start loaning out
they
my
do it.
blower.
Yeah. So please pick up your trash, yes, and don't let them off at 10:01.
Thanks.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Andy, do you know, I know Captain Shearer told me he had 27 between calls for service on fireworks between, I think he said the 2nd of July and the 4th. Do you know, any? Did he have 22 for the week before that? Do you know?
I do not know, but
I'm
I
sorry,
do know that,
didn't
I did know that he had 27, they said that they had 27 calls. He'd be
Yeah.
more than willing to answer any questions when he gets back.
I think, I don't know what the rest of the council would like to do, and maybe they can chime in here if they want, but I'd like to come back in August. Maybe kind of everybody, the city staff does a recap of what we've had happen and what we've done, and maybe just talk about this whole thing a little bit, so it doesn't get too far out of our memory, but yet far enough down the road, everybody has a chance to work on it. Maybe the first or second meeting in August, kind of recap and talk about fireworks.
Maybe we can do some education to the public that we don't set the dates of the sales. Those are set by the state legislature, as well as where they can be sold. That is not up to us. The only thing we can control is the hours. And maybe that is, my husband brought up a good point. He said, it's the 4th is Sunday was the 3rd. And he's like, it would have been nice if we could go to 11 on the 3rd. And then the 4th, if we are going into work day, maybe end at 10. And I don't know. I mean, like I said, when I watch them, I love fireworks too. And I know it's a great, there's great sales and it helps with our local option sales tax. So maybe
Well,
it's just looking at those hours and having a deeper conversation.
I would just like staff to maybe come back, see, we have some recommendations or thoughts and
Sure.
have everybody, let them have a chance to go through some of the stuff and then it's not on our agenda, so we can't talk about it in
Absolutely.
detail, but I would like them to come back with that I think I would like to include AP on that because simply from the fact that we did have a lot of folks using the streets with fireworks. I don't know from a chemical standpoint if that causes things in this concrete to have some deterioration that causes less life in that concrete. Maybe Dean and his staff might be able to come up and talk with AP on that when the time comes, but I'd like to have some more information on that too, because there are a lot of folks that use the street and, if that's causing us issues down the road, I guess that's something else I'd like to know.
Great.
Do we have an ordinance that talks about the size of the firework that's able to be lit? The size?
Oh, there we do?
Well, there's a class, right?
No,
State-
it's a state
and
class.
there's a class, there's what, class 1, 2,
Yeah.
and 3.
Well, and yeah, they're actually divided between commercial, consumer fireworks are the only thing they can shoot off. And there's a whole gamut of, and I can send that out to everybody as far as what type of fireworks that includes, the consumer fireworks. Yeah, and yeah, they can't shoot
I think they just
what
get
they,
better, bigger.
yeah, the mortars, the
Right.
true mortars that the commercial vendors put on, yeah.
Does that have to go through you if let's say we had a commercial vendor want to come in and do a fireworks display, does that go through you or the state fire marshal?
Goes through me.
Through you?
And it did, and
Deer Run.
Deer Run, they went through us.
Okay,
They had to give us maps and
Okay.
distances and sizes,
Isn't it 70 feet per inch?
75 feet per inch.
Per inch. I heard them talk about that at the big show they're doing, the contest that they're doing over in Newton at the racetrack.
Yep.
They're actually gonna be igniting 16 and 24 inch diameter that will spread will be 1/3 of a mile. They're
Wow.
that big, but they're clear out on the airport there away from
Yeah.
everybody.
So basically, all of the tents that are here in town, those are selling your, consumer fireworks. They're
Right.
not commercial grade.
Right.
And they have a really great working relationship. I've seen them in the community page when they don't have something, they're going to another one and they've all this great talking. It's great to see that. And I miss thanking Jesse Rognus and his partners at Deer Run. This was one of our first, big shows that was put on. And so that was great. Well attended. I know that you were there. I was out of town. I got to speak to him the next day about it. They passed out some free memberships too for golfing. So that was
That was a great turnout.
And that
That's
was,
awesome.
their biggest one was a 4-inch.
wow.
wow.
Well, we'll be sure to let Ben know that we need to
Yeah,
put that in.
Definitely. I'll talk.
I don't know
to
if you
Austin.
need, I think we need to discuss it before we do anything with recommendations, but. I think
Okay,
at least-
well, yeah, I
at least
mean,
bring
put it on the
information
agenda.
and then we can bring it back
Yeah,
around for
yeah.
recommendations.
Put it on the
That's a good
agenda.
idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
One other thing I would like to just throw out here too, and again, maybe talk among ourselves and put it on the agenda for a future meeting, is kind of put some things together on the Downtown Square Commission. I know Charlie sent out a very detailed email today that I think you all got. If you haven't read that, read it, and then we can maybe put that on an agenda to talk a little bit more about and have Charlie come back and talk about it as well. I just think we need to kind of put some things in place because I know some people will say, well, we should send some things here and some things there or not, and just let the council make a decision, but I think we need to kind of get that formulated since we've created that commission. So
Okay.
my thought.
Roles and responsibilities.
Yeah, so again, future meeting, either late July or late August.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
I think one last thing before we move, sorry, Andy, you're
No,
like
that's fine.
just ready. And because I did share this today with a resident and I'd spoken with Ben about it, at our next meeting, we would like to have, just a conversation about bird scooters. I'm sure you all are hearing about them too. You know, being left in some places, businesses that they're bringing them, but I think what we want to do is get that local operator to come. I think we can still continue to have them if we just have a better relationship with where they're being placed. A couple businesses have been upset when they've been placed there for pickups, but again, next meeting, and we will work with the local operator. All right, Andy, it's all
Okay.
yours.
I don't, oh, you have some.
Before we, I just had a couple of comments. So our last meeting, we had Brandy come and talk about the homeless situation, and Wes came and talked about the
Yep.
parking situation in the cul-de-sacs. Did you talk to AP, or did you talk to Brian about those two issues?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. So AP really diligently the next day went and he looked into what our cul-de-sac parking and situation is, and we are working on identifying all the cul-de-sacs. We've already worked on one. Some neighbors are happy, some aren't happy with the change. And Wes, spoken to him, I've spoken to his wife, and then on Brandy, we are waiting until Brian and Gwen would like to be a part of the conversation with the homeless situation with Brandy. They will be back next week. Well, Ben will be back later this week. Gwen will be back next week, so we can work with Brandy and make sure we're dealing with that situation. So yes, we are working on the cul-de-sac, and what we have found, much like Wes said, some of them are on one side, some of them are on the other side. So we're just going to try to get some consistency, and AP is leading that all. But yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Andy.
I just had a couple of things to recap. This was the end of the fiscal year. June 30th was the end of our fiscal year, so we'll be getting ready to start the process for FY24. We'll be recapping FY22 with the auditor. The third week of August, we'll be starting our field work with Robert Endress, and so we'll be starting that process. And then we just heard from Homeland Security, as you can recall, that we have a grant that we're currently working under with Homeland Security to replace 4 of our emergency outdoor warning sirens. It was going to be a split 90 federal or 75 federal, 15 from the local, and then 10% from the state. Well, there's recent legislation where it changed to 90% federal and 10% state. So there'll be no local match for that.
Yeah.
So we
Very
get 4 new outdoor warning sirens.
Perfect.
Good.
I thought that was going to go sideways, but
Mhm.
I like the way you did that, Andy. All right, all those in favor?
I think I can make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Great. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Gosh, guys, before 7. Have a great night.